Hello, I'm Dr. Jerry Parrish. I'm the Chief Economist of the Florida Chamber Foundation, and welcome to Florida by the Numbers. Today I want to talk about two things. First is the jobs report we just received for May jobs created in Florida. Then I want to talk about the historic vote coming this Thursday, the 23rd, when citizens of the UK will vote on whether to stay in the European Union. And I want to talk about the effects that could have on Florida. First, let's go to the job numbers. In May, Florida created 24,500 jobs, which led the nation. That's a substantial part, more than 60% of the nation's 38,000 jobs created in May. That brings our 12-month total to 253,900 jobs. That's significant because that's a job growth rate of 3.2% versus the U.S. rate, which is slowing down. It's now 1.7%. Our unemployment rate statewide is down to 4.7%. versus 5.4% this time last year. There are 457,000 Floridians who are unemployed out of a workforce of about 9.8 million. Currently, there are 257,400 open jobs in Florida. When we look at the percentage of the U.S. over the past year in jobs, you'll see that Florida produced almost 1 out of every 9 jobs. When we look at private sector jobs, we're still producing more than 1 out of every 10 jobs created in the country. Now let's look at the United Kingdom and their upcoming vote. If they vote to leave, and it's certainly too close to call right now, it'll have effects on Florida exports, our imports from the UK, tourism, and other things. First, let's look at the size of the UK compared to Florida. Florida's economy, if it were a separate country, would be 16th largest in the world. That's up from 18th last year. We just recently got numbers showing that Florida's economy, the size of the GDP, is $883 billion. That puts us around 31% of the size of the UK economy. They also have a little over 3 times as many people as Florida does. What's interesting is they have a similar percentage of their population that are over 65 years old. It's 18% here in Florida, and it's 18% in the UK. Florida exports more than $1 billion every year to the UK as far as goods exports, and imports about $2 billion. Florida exports things like aircraft parts, agricultural goods, medical surgical devices, electrical and power generation machinery, as well as a host of other things. We import many of the same items from the UK, plus about $250 million each year in whiskey, and we should say thank you, Scotland. If the UK votes to leave the European Union, here are some of the things that will be affected. Currency, you can see that the British pound has dropped over the past couple of years against the US dollar, and you would expect that if there is a Brexit, that the value of the British pound will fall further. A weaker British pound would make Florida exports more expensive for UK residents. It would also tend to make our imports cheaper. And remember that we import about twice as much as we export to the UK. The biggest effect, though, could be on tourism. In 2015, more than 1.7 million visitors came from the UK to Florida. They're the largest non-Canadian visitor group we have. This is about 15% of all the international visitors we have, and about 40% of the Europe category. And we know that international visitors stay longer and spend more and leave more sales and other tax dollars in Florida. A weaker British pound will also make it relatively cheaper for some of our other visitors, say from Chicago or New York or other parts of the U.S., to go to the UK. It'd be relatively cheaper for them to travel over there. And then those visitors might go there instead of coming to Florida. It would also make it more expensive for foreign direct investment to occur in Florida from the UK countries. There's also likely to be an effect on the euro if the UK leaves. It may lower the value of the euro compared to the US dollar, causing the same effects to happen in those countries. We don't know how the UK will vote. Now, as we tape this segment, it's still too close to call. There would be effects on Florida if they vote to leave. I don't know what the result will be, but I'll certainly be watching on Thursday. Thank you for joining us on Florida by the Numbers. If you have any comments or questions, please contact me. Thank you.